Today I'm going to do a demo drawing eyes. So I already drew a few here, you can see, and I'm going to do one more for you that we'll do together. So the way I'm going to start is by drawing the upper and lower eyelid. Eyes are generally shaped like almonds. So I'm going to draw a basic almond shape. So it's sort of shaped like a seed when you start. Okay, next I'm going to add a line underneath the lower eyelid. Okay, now I'm going to add the fold above the upper eyelid. So most people have a fold here where the eyelid creases. And above that, I'm going to draw the line for the eyebrow. So this is a female eye, and generally females have thinner eyebrows than men do. So this is a basic line of the eyebrow, and we're going to add some more hairs to it. So on top of this line that you started, start to add more eyebrow hairs. And I like to use hatching lines and fan it across the first line I made. So I go one way, and then I'll cross hatch along the line to thicken the eyebrow. You can make it as thick as you'd like. And I'm going to darken it up in the center a little bit more. So add another layer of hatching lines. Okay, next I'm going to add the circle for the pupil of the eye. So this would take some patience and practice, but you're going to try to draw almost a perfect circle inside the eye. Now, if you imagine it's a circle, the pupil goes above the eyelid, but you don't see all of it. And I'm just going to move my lower eyelid up a little because we're going to imagine this person squinting a little bit. So you can adjust as you go. Okay, next I'm going to add the center of the eye, which is called the iris. It's another circle inside of the pupil. So we have a really basic outline now. Okay, now I'm going to add some areas where the eye is reflecting light, and you do not touch these spots with your pencil. This is where it's purely white. So this is going to make an effect of it looks shiny, and that's a really, really important aspect to drawing eyes because it gives the illusion that the eye is shiny. So we're going to draw some different shapes inside of this eyeball. All right, I'm going to go ahead and shade the pupil and the iris now. You can really do this in any order you like, but just to give it some illusion of shininess now, let's go ahead and shade. So the iris is going to be pure black. Maybe a little bit of gray in here. And it looks like above the iris is pure black, as dark as you can press with your pencil. And then I'm going to slowly fade it to a gray below this. And you can always get darker, but I'm going to start with a lighter gray below the iris. Okay, and the line around the pupil is also very dark usually. So this line here is almost pure black. So I'm going to press a little harder around the pupil. Okay, so I have my eyeball there. I'm going to start to add lashes now. So I'm going to shade a little bit inside the eye, because the eyeball is never actually pure white. It's going to be a little bit gray underneath the top eyelid. Okay, and I'm going to add some faint lashes. Now, they're going to go hatching lines to the left, and then in the center, they're going to be straight, and on the right of the pupil, they're going to start to tilt to the right. That's the way lashes behave. Now this is really faint. I'm going to add some more shading to that later. I'm going to add, the corner of the eye has sort of this little dot in it. So I'm going to shade in here a little bit. And if you add a second line, that seems to help create the illusion of it looking really like an eye. So 2 lines here, 1, 2, and shading. Okay, I'm going to shade a little bit on the above the lower eyelid. And up here, I'm going to press very hard for the fold in the eye. It gets thicker about here, and then it's going to thin out. Thin out again. And I'm going to shade from the fold towards the upper lid, and from the upper lid towards the fold. So you have a lighter area right here above the upper lid and before the fold. And a little bit of shading above the fold as well. Okay, now it's starting to look like an eye. I'd like to add a little bit more darkness in my eyebrow above. Okay, last I'm going to shade in the eyelashes. So the upper lid's gonna be dark. And the eyelashes are gonna be thicker towards the lid, and then they kind of fan out and get thinner further away. So I have the guide of the lashes underneath the darkest ones I'm adding. So you don't want to add like perfectly distanced lashes, because lashes really don't act that way. They kind of they tend to clump together. So we're going to make them look clumped together. I'm going to add a little bit thicker line here. That's going to make it look like maybe eyeshadow or mascara makeup. All right, the very last step is to add the lower lashes. So same idea, they're going to fan out to the right and then straight in the middle, and then fan left on the left of the pupil. So there's your guide, and same idea, put a few clumped together, make it look more realistic that way. I'm just gonna keep shading a little bit inside the eye. So we shade just above the lower eyelid and just below the upper eyelid. And it gets more faint in the middle of the eyeball. Okay, and you can keep adding detail. You can really get hyper detailed here, but I just wanted to give you an idea of drawing an eye realistically and in a pretty fast way.